companies to be more accepting and accommodating for people who are autistic, the accommodations need to be tailored to that person. It's no use having a one-size-fits-all, oh, you have a social communication disorder, let's just give you the basic copy and pasted things that we give people with social communication disorders. Sit down with the person, ask them what it is that they struggle with specifically, make a plan for that person specifically, and listen to them.
So the strategies that enable neurodiverse colleagues to be successful at net sales are the fact that we're very kind of open in our company. So people who have any issues, any problems, they're heavily encouraged to come and speak to any member of the team, any senior member of the team. We literally have an open door policy. There are no doors outside of meeting rooms. So we really encourage people to come and raise any issues. And I think this is really important in creating psychological safety around if you need to or want to disclose anything.
In my experience as a job coach, there are strategies that can be very helpful for neurodiverse people in the workplace. This often includes me taking the time to really get to know the person that I'm supporting in the workplace, finding out about their sensory profile and their learning styles, what it might look like if they're unhappy, if it's not really obvious from their facial expressions, and writing those down in a way that's understandable for employers. The barrier that you can come across is you might do a lot of training for a particular manager for the person in work, but they have lots of other colleagues, those managers could leave, so you want to create sort of like a passport for the person I'm supporting to present to their colleagues in the way that they would like to present it, and saying things you need to know about me, how I communicate, and things to do if someone's struggling.
The whole thing comes down to, in my belief, a conversation. And any adjustments, I think, have to be at the individual level. Yes, there probably are things, if you measure enough people, where you can say, well, make sure that the environments are uncluttered, this, that and the other. Yes, to an extent, but ultimately it will come down to a conversation between an employer and a prospective employee as to what can be done for that individual. And it might not, in my case, I can live with a flashing light, as long as nothing else is going wrong. But then if something else is going wrong, that flashing light then becomes a pain in the neck, and it contributory to any possible set of outcomes.
For me personally, strategies to help me in the workplace have been quite simple ones. So the job that I do on a weekday morning, for example, my employer, when they realised how little they actually needed to do to help me, were very, very keen and willing to do that. Not all employers will, but when they find out how easy it can be for some autistic people, and again, we're all different, but in my case it was little simple things made a big difference. So for example, there was certain lighting in the premises that affected me with sensory difficulties and would make me very disorientated and nauseous. Once I told them about this, they removed the lighting completely, and nobody even noticed it had gone. So it certainly didn't have an impact in any way on the business, but it made my life a lot easier and let me get on with my job.
So we're actually quite an open plan office, which obviously has some challenges with noise, light, sound, but whenever a colleague discloses they need any kind of accommodation, we're very aware and very willing to move them, find a situation that works for them, whether that's facing away from a window to a window, away from a light to a light. We also have occasionally music playing in the office, so we're very aware of keeping levels down for that for people. And also we have a headphone policy, and I think that's a really great thing just in general for anyone trying to get deep work done. But we're very explicit in that if someone's wearing headphones, please don't try and get their attention by waving or poking them or anything like that. And I think that helps immeasurably everyone in the office.
Another way that my employer helped me massively was the setting up of a quiet room in one of the offices in the premises, and it was a simple step for them to do and took no effort on their part, but made a big impact in the store, because it wasn't only just for me, but it was for other autistic colleagues, other colleagues with hidden disabilities, anxiety, anybody who needed to use it if they were experiencing any difficulties. And for me personally, I don't use it very often, And it's enough knowing that it's there, and that escape route, which is important to autistic people, of knowing where your escape route is, and that knowledge, knowing that I can go there any time that I feel I need to, is often enough.
So a very successful working practice that I've come across is supporting a neurodiverse worker, colleague, by trying to remove some of the ambiguity around work situations. So if there's any jargon that you use to explain that as you go along, which can be quite difficult to sort of realise what's jargon because you get so used to saying it. But I've supported someone working in a solicitor's office, and they were talking about cowboy builders, and that really threw them. And so it took a little bit of explanation, but once that was explained, that was fine. Is also removing ambiguity as much as possible in the recruitment process. So on a job advert, if you can, please put what hours the job is and be really clear of what the expectations are. And with regards to interviews, is it going to be formal? Is it going to be informal? How long would it last? And removing ambiguity also goes for the more social elements to a role, the unwritten rules of the workplace.
The other things that I've found really help me is some software, different types of software. Because my brain works mainly on images, when I sit down and I look at a screen and read the writing, I'm just recognising patterns, or I'm reading it and converting it into pictures in my head. So mind mapping software has really helped me.
I think there's still a lack of understanding, and I think there's still that kind of concern that it's too hard. And I think certainly with North Yorkshire Police, we've still got bridges to build, and there's still issues. We're getting there slowly but surely. We are now coming to terms with actually it's for our benefit to make those reasonable adjustments, and it's our benefit to help people to make their work-life balance easier, because if we support people with neurodiverse conditions, we're actually supporting everyone, because we have the work-life balance, stress at work is reduced, not just for that person but for everyone as a whole. If they're comfortable at work, there's less sickness for them, there's less stress for them, but that just balances out for everyone as a whole. So you support one person, you're supporting the whole team.